And let me tell you how gravely serious this is. He is a Marxist running as a democratic socialist and on the Democrat line as well. He is an Islamist who has endorsed a global intifada. Intifada started with the Palestinians, but now all the terrorist groups, is war. And so that means war and terrorism globally. He supports it. When he was confronted with it, he said, no, for Palestinians, that's simply a rallying cry. No, it's not. We had the first intifada and the second intifada, and an awful lot of people lost their lives, mostly Jews, as a result of it. It is a label for terrorism. And he's going on about a global terrorism. And let me tell you what happens if he becomes mayor. You might say, well, he got the Democrat nod, but there's a lot of independent parties now, and we're not sure, but he certainly has the inside track if you're a betting person. You still have the Republican line. You have Curtis Sliwa, who's running. You have the current mayor, Eric Adams, who's running as an independent. You have some others running on these third-party lines, too. The problem is he's getting the vote of a lot of young people who don't know better or have been indoctrinated or who support him, and a lot of Muslims. The irony of this is it's a city with the biggest population of Jews of any other city on the face of the earth. Even Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, doesn't matter. What happens if he gets elected? Do you think most of those Jews are going to stay there? But not just Jews. Do you think a lot of people are going to leave? It's going to depopulate. Businesses will depopulate and leave. And who will fill the void? The radical Islamic elements in our country and perhaps throughout the world. They'll now find New York City to be a draw. Now think about this. Our biggest city, our greatest city. Look, I'm a Philadelphian. It is what it is. Our greatest city, our biggest financial center, by a Marxist Islamist. I want you to listen to this guy. I want you to look at this guy. They've got him all polished up. He's 33 years old. You know, he's got a suit on. He knows how to say, you know, how to dance the dance. But I want you to listen to him. Go.
I was somebody who began my journey in organizing and in politics by co-founding my school's first Students for Justice in Palestine.
There you go. Students for Justice in Palestine is a Hamas front group. All this violence, all this stuff going on in our colleges and universities. He founded it, the version at his school. Look at this guy. He's angry, even though he pretends to be smiling when he's not caught. He's a true believer. He promotes the BDS movement. He says he's going to promote it if he's elected mayor. This is a true believer, right in the heart of New York City. Can you imagine what you feel like if you're NYPD or something like that? I mean, do you think they're going to want to hang around for this guy? And by the way, this is 2023, even though this is posted just a few days ago. Go ahead.
The struggle for Palestinian liberation was at the core of my politics and continues to be. And so I struggled to find a home in New York City that could bring that politics in a sense of coherence with the politics I felt around the future of New York City. And here was this organization that endorsed BDS.
So here we are, Students for Justice in Palestine and the BDS movement, both of which are terrorist front groups and efforts. Got that? So there you go, out of his own mouth, just a couple of years ago. And yet he gets more votes than anybody else running as a Democrat. Now the problem is Cuomo is a horrific person, let alone candidate. He's got a trail of women who've accused him of, it's not harassment, it's worse than harassment, of touching them and approaching them and so forth and so on. He's got a trail of dead bodies from people who died in nursing homes. So if he was the great savior to fight this guy, obviously it was a huge mistake. But nonetheless, the media report this as a real transition from the old Democrat Guard to the new Democrat Guard. It's not a transition from the old to the new. It's a transition to a guy that supports terrorists, in my humble opinion. He certainly supports their organizations and their front groups. This is what happens when you have open borders. This is what happens when you have lenient immigration over a period of time. People come into the country who have no intention of assimilating into our values. They bring their own hate, their own ideology, their own evil, whatever it is, and they try to project it onto and then impose it onto our society. Remember what I discussed last night about the Islamist mindset? He's got the Islamist mindset. There are many ways to skin a cat, as they used to say. I think one's too many, but you understand the point. You can do it with weapons. You can do it with ballistic missiles. You can do it with atomic weapons. You can do it, whatever. But you can also do it from within. And this is something the Hamas front group CARE has preached over and over and over again. That is how to defeat the United States from within. How do we know that? In 1993, there was a meeting of Hamas supporting individuals in the Marriott Hotel next to the Philadelphia airport. They hatched their strategy, did Hamas, right there, to create an organization in America, it was CARE, as a front group to talk to the media, to sort of look like an Americanized, westernized type of entity, claimed to be the largest civil rights group in America, funded by God knows what, and to leach itself into the society. That's exactly what it's done. Students for Justice in Palestine followed exactly the same path. They have like 300 chapters in our colleges and universities, and they are there to foment riots. Riots. And here they are. The BDS movement is an effort that says we have to destroy Israel economically, choke them off. Can you imagine what this guy would do as mayor in the economic relations between the state of Israel, the city with the greatest Jewish population? This is grave. This is very, very serious. I don't care if you live in Peoria. I don't care if you live in what state you live in, what town you live in. This is a very serious matter. And I fear this is catching on. When you look at England today, they have Muslim mayors, starting with London. London, which is a massive city. I don't know if it still is. I believe the population of London at one point was bigger than New York. It may still be, even though the country is much smaller than our country. In many, many of the most significant cities and towns in England, even though the Muslim population represents, it could be about 15% of the population, they have Muslim mayors because they have had open borders. Immigration has changed that country. If you went to London or someplace in England 20 years ago, you wouldn't recognize it today. You wouldn't recognize it. And the violence and the rape gangs against, white English girls. Look, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not making this up. Mostly by Pakistani men. Is disgusting. It's sick. It's a big scandal over there. It's a big scandal over there. You also see it in other parts of Europe that's taking place here when you had these weak left-wing governments, just as we had a weak left-wing government. And it changes the entire culture, demographics, and nature of a country, as it is New York City, and as it is so much of our country, because this element has a big say in the Democrat Party now.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.